when we talk about the Italian Renaissance, we're talking primarily the figures we're referring to are merchants, are artisans, are dukes. We're talking about the well-to-do, the rich, the upper class, the upper middle class. So what was life like for ordinary people during the Renaissance? I mean, surely it was a little bit better than it had been a century or two earlier. There was more growth than there had previously been, and following the plague of the previous century, you start to see a shift from feudalism, and people are able to demand slightly higher wages. But for the most part, life is unchanged. While upper class people are having lavish feasts, they're having banquets, ordinary Italians are they're eating the same black beans and dark bread. They're getting by on the same meals that they had before. The plates don't exist yet. They're eating them off boards. Life is kind of drudgery for a lot of people. They estimate that roughly 70% of inhabitants in city states, which again at that time was where the action was, were poor in one way or another. So you had laborers who would do well during some times, not well, but I mean, they get by. And then the next day, the economy sours, the price of bread spikes up, and suddenly they're out on their own and they're having to beg for food. In addition, you have a lot of people who are very, very old, very young, very mentally ill, and they're just really out on their own. They are poor with no hope of advancing. So you have at this time what emerges, which are these Roman Catholic Brotherhood organizations, and they provide many services to the poor. They visit prisoners. They collect alms. Now these are upper class people who are doing it because they believe that you are saved through works. That's a Catholic belief that how your actions will determine your salvation, not just believing in Jesus, not just accepting and believing in God, but that you actually have to act in a certain way. So the Renaissance Italians at this time, they become pioneers in orphanages and workhouses and women's shelters. A disproportionate share of who they're administering to are women. So women at that time are often not being taken care of, and it's up to the church to see that they are.